Hey guys, what's going on? It is Justin here, coming in so hot. And I wanted to go over something real quick that I think a lot of people struggle with sometimes when it comes to weight loss and body fat loss. And this question came from a client of mine. It was a really great question. He just made some adjustments to his nutrition, but he wasn't seeing weight loss after 2 weeks like he had hoped. And I wanted to go over a couple reasons why that might be. I even wrote it on a whiteboard, which apparently you guys won't even be able to read, because as I'm looking at it in the camera, I can't even read it, so I guess these notes will be for me. So anyhow, this client of mine had stuck in weight loss, and he wanted to start picking up the process and getting through that plateau. So we went over some small adjustments in terms of adjusting portion sizes that was coming in and adjusting some snacking, and we thought that that might pick it up, and it didn't. The weight maintained, so I wanted to go over a couple possible reasons why that might be, and a couple secret, sneaky Jedi stuff that also might help as well too at the end of this video, so stay tuned. Okay, so reason number one that this client of mine might not be losing weight, and reason number one would be he's actually not in a calorie deficit. So I think most of us know that in order to lose weight, you need to be in a consistent calorie deficit over an extended period of time, so consuming fewer calories than your body needs over an extended period of time. Now this could be for a number of reasons. One, his hand size portions. He might have made adjustments, but maybe it wasn't enough. So maybe we need to tweak those hand size portions different. If he's someone that's weighing or tracking calories, macros, maybe he's not using his scale for things for the majority of his food, and he's kind of estimating, and those estimations are off. So that could be a couple reasons. Maybe there's some snacking, nibbling, grazing coming in that we're not really taking into account, liquid calories coming in. But overall, it's not to get upset with it. I know it can be frustrating, but it's just to kind of create that awareness around it, just to take the rational approach. It's okay, if I'm not losing weight, it's probably because I'm not creating a calorie deficit. That probably is going to be the main reason. So we just want to check in on that with a couple things. Number two would be comparing progress to others. Now, what I mean by this is a lot of times, sometimes I'll get clients where they'll say that they're not losing weight, but they're actually not losing weight at a rate that they had hoped. So when we dive into it a little bit, they're losing weight, they're losing body fat, but it's not as much as their friend or the barista at Starbucks or something like that they had talked to. So don't compare your progress to others. We're all gonna move at a different pace, and that's whatever pace our body wants to move. So if that's something that you're doing. Number three, inconsistent measurements. And what I mean by this is sometimes what you'll wanna do is if you're using the scale, body girth measurements, photos to assess your progress, well, one, if you're not using all three of those, definitely use all three. But if you're doing them at different times a day, for example, if you're weighing yourself in the morning for one measurement, and then a week later you do it in the evening, those are going to be off. So what we want to do is create consistency around our measurements. So take your weight at the same time every single day. Take your girth measurements around the same time every single day. Your photos as well too, because those things will fluctuate. So be consistent with your measurements. Number four is metabolic adaptation. And that's a really fancy word for as you're losing weight, building lean muscle, dropping body fat, your body naturally is just going to require fewer calories. So you do have to adjust. I know most of us have heard like we need 3,500 calories, 500 deficit per day, 3,500 calories over the course of a week. So technically, yes, that would lead to a pound of weight loss. But as you start losing weight, your body requires fewer and fewer calories, so that number is going to be needed to be adjusted. So you'll have to keep adjusting your calorie intake down, your portion sizing down as you're moving. So if you've lost weight recently and things have stalled, that is probably the reason why. Metabolic adaptation. In my personal opinion, if you've lost a good amount of weight and you've kind of stalled, I would take a diet break for like a week or two. Let your body just chill out, consume maintenance calories. You might put on like a few pounds, but it's mostly going to be water retention, glycogen stores filling up, and then give yourself a break, and then go back into diet mode, creating a calorie deficit. It'll be good for you in the long run, not only physically but mentally as well too. So Number 5 is going to be water retention. And this is, I find, like the most typical reason for a lot of people. The scale isn't something that we can control. It's an outcome. All we can control is our behaviors, and that scale is going to move around at a crazy, crazy rate. I really recommend for people, if it's not your cup of tea, that's totally cool. I recommend people weigh themselves first thing in the morning every single day. If you don't want to do that, it messes with you psychologically. I totally get it. But you'll start to get used to fluctuations in the scale, and I think it can really help you understand what's going on with the weight loss process. Like, you can go up and down a couple pounds day to day, and is that actual weight and fat? No, that's impossible. You're not adding a pound or two of fat in a day. So it's going to be things like water retention, and it might be from a meal you ate the day before. Maybe it was saltier and you're holding on to some water. Maybe you ate more. Maybe you've been following low carbs and you had some more carbs the day before. Your glycogen filled up. You are holding on to more water. There you go, and that's who your water retention as well too. And then some other things too. For women, that we know that Shark Week, man, that's going to mess with you guys, and your weight's going to be fluctuated around that time as well too. So if you are a woman, I would compare your Shark Weeks to your other Shark Weeks, and see if your weight moves from one Shark Week to the next. So basically, let's say at the end of the month, that's when your Shark Week is. Weeks 1, 2, and 3, you would compare those to each other, and then week 4, you would compare it to your other Shark Week. So that way you can get a real good gauge of what's going on. And some other things are going to affect water retention that you might not be aware of, like stress and sleep, and exercise as well too. If you haven't been working out in a while and you start exercising again, it's a stress on your body, and that can lead to some water retention and filling up. So something to keep in mind as well too. Number 6 would be health issues. This is going to be things like menopause, PCOS for women, or if you're maybe taking birth control, antidepressants, and some other things like that. Those things, anti-inflammatories and steroids as well too, those things can all lead to water retention, something going on maybe physiologically that's influencing whether or not you can lose weight, or you're holding on to water retention. That is not my cup of tea. You probably would want to talk to your doctor about that, and maybe any medication or any health issues you've got going on, but it is something to be aware of. Number 7, your plan is just wacky. A lot of times I'll see someone that is they're just doing too much. They're crushing themselves with so much exercise, endless cardio. They're not strength training, so they're losing muscle mass, and depriving themselves of all kind of food, or like a super low calorie deficit, and which is leading to like binge eating over the weekends, which is another thing, that would probably go up here with number 1. Is a lot of times there's work week dieting, like Monday through Friday, that deficit is happening and we're eating really well, and then over the weekends those calories bump up. We go off plan a little bit, which is totally cool, but it balances out that calorie intake, maybe even gets us to retain a little bit of water and stuff as well too. So sorry to jump around there a little bit, but yeah, take a look if your plan is a little wacky, and if you're not sure, that's maybe when it is time to maybe reach out to a coach, or get like a second opinion on what's going on with your plan. But daily movement with walks and stuff like that, meaningful movement, hikes, yoga, if you love Pilates and stuff like that, things that you enjoy, Beat Saber, whatever it might be, and then just good, smart resistance training and strength training to hold on to as much lean muscle mass as possible, with like a sensible diet where it's enough of a calorie deficit to create weight loss, but not too much where you're going into like binge eating mode. So let me erase this real quick for you guys, because I wanted to touch on one more thing. And I'll also give you a couple tips of what you might be able to do. I also wanted to touch on number 8 here, which is just to be patient, which is easier said than done. I'm drawing a little graph here, and I want to show you how progress happens for basically 100% of any client that I've ever worked with. So be patient with the process. I know it can be tough and it can be challenging, but just a reminder, just because you do X doesn't mean you get or deserve Y. I know that might be frustrating to hear, But sometimes you work really, really hard and the outcome isn't what you anticipated, hoped for, or expected. And it's just something that we need to take heart of. That progress might not happen the way that we like, it might not happen at the rate that we want, but sit back, step back, and ask yourself, is this really something that's important to me? And am I willing to work on this for a little while? And I think our health and fitness is take weight loss out of the equation for a little bit, and just moving your body and trying to eat better on a regular basis is good for us for so many reasons. So just something to think about. But patience is key when it comes to this. This is gonna take time. For most of us, probably 6 months or more. So I wanted to show you guys real quick about how progress happens with basically every single client of mine. I wish I could use one of their weight loss graphs or body fat graphs, but I got this whiteboard, I might as well take advantage of it. But let's just say that this is time down here at the bottom. My big old head is in the way. And this is gonna be weight. I'm just gonna put WT. I don't know how you abbreviate weight, but I'm gonna put WT. And this is weight, this is time. Now let's say they start up here. Let's just say this is a 200-pound person, and they want to get down to, let's just say like 150. What we think is going to happen is this. A nice linear line. We create that deficit, 500 deficit, and weight loss is smooth and effortless the entire time. What really happens is a little something like this. Maybe initially you get like this big little dip, then it pops up a little bit, and it's moving around a little bit again. And as you can see, it's not a smooth linear line. Maybe it even jumps up, maybe you go on vacation or something right around there. You know what I'm talking about, holidays. And it's coming back down again. Looks like a mountain range. But anyhow, what's typically gonna happen with our progress is it's gonna jump around, up and down. But what we're looking for over time is a nice downward trend. But anticipate these fluctuations on a day-to-day basis, these up and down marks. And this could be for a number of reasons. Maybe your health and fitness became less of a priority right here. Maybe you had to spend some extra time at work. It was hard to make meals at home and get some stuff done. It was harder to get workouts in. And then all of a sudden you were able to prioritize it a little bit more, and it was we took a little dip, vacations, holidays, whatever. But it's just something to remind ourselves that progress doesn't happen that nice linear line. It moves around and jumps around a little bit. So, man, 12-minute video, this is getting crazy. I'm gonna shut it down here, but with a couple hot coming in quick tips. If you feel like you're doing a lot of the things right and things aren't working out the way that you had hoped for, is a couple real quick tips. Is one, just make sure if you're taking measurements, make sure you're doing it at a consistent time. Two, really take a look if you're actually in a calorie deficit. There's a really good chance that you might think that you are, but somewhere along those lines you're not, for whatever reason it might be. Just maybe you're eating more calories than you anticipated. If you're estimating the weekend snacking, liquid calories, some things that you're not taking into account, that's a pretty good reason. And then, like I mentioned earlier, there's a few other things that can come into there as well, with water retention, health issues, stress and sleep can affect it as well too. And then lastly, just make sure you're being patient with it, which I know can be really, really difficult. But anywho, Justin, I should probably bounce out of here because it's a long ass video. Take care, and we will talk to you guys soon.